Good evening. This is Granny on this beautiful Monday night, February the 14th, 2020. I'm pausing because I'm honored to bring these two great women before us tonight. I had never heard of either one of them, and I wanted to honor them by dressing in some different attire tonight. I hope you enjoy. This is Granny again. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And as I said last week, I promise you with all my heart, we are going to get back to reading Granny's Old Hands. We have two chapters left. I can't stress this enough. I spoke to the team and I asked if we could have a discussion for the month of February where we featured persons that had made outstanding contributions to our world as we know it. And so, with that said, I'm happy tonight to bring you two persons that I had never heard of. Possibly you had, but I hadn't. First one is a lady named Rebecca Lee Crumpler, Crumpler. Rebecca Lee Crumpler challenged the prejudice that prevented African Americans from pursuing careers in medicine to become the first African American woman in the United States to earn an MD degree, a distinction formerly credited to Rebecca Cole. Had no idea. Again, like I told you before, I'll always do a check just to make sure. So if I have to put a disclaimer, I put it in. But it says, although little has survived to tell the story of Crumpler's life, she has secured her place in the historical record with her book of medical advice for women and children, published in 1883. 1883, guys. Did you hear that? Cumler was born in 1831 in Delaware to Absalom Davis and Matilda Weber, an aunt in Pennsylvania who spent much of her time caring for sick neighbors, and many have influenced her career choice. She was raised by this aunt. And so we learned that her passion for nursing came out of what she learned from her aunt. By 1852, she had moved to Charlestown, Massachusetts, where she worked as a nurse for the next 8 years because the first formal school for nursing only opened up in 1873. She was able to perform such work without any formal training. In 1860, she was admitted to the New England Female Medical College. Wow. When she graduated in 1864, Crumpler was the first African American woman in the United States to earn an MD degree and the only African American woman to graduate from the New England Female Medical College, which merged with the Boston University School of Medicine in 1873. Take a break. Every time I get the chance to get some information on somebody that I didn't know, and we don't know everybody, God forbid. We don't even know half of the contributions that have been made on behalf of persons that look like me. But just amazing. Um, just amazing what they went through and what we continue to go through. It's mind boggling. But for me, it says anything is possible if you persevere and you have the strength to see it through. Now, this next female, I never even knew she existed. I never learned about her in history books, never learned about her just in general. But when I, along with the team, came up on this, I said, there's no way we cannot share this. And we won't be before you long because We know everybody is excited. Super Bowl. Mm. Well, this is a Super Bowl for me. Her name is Bridget Biddy Mason. I'm gonna tell you ahead of time, I'm gonna cry because I've read this so many times and I thought, no way. We talk about resiliency. Whoa, I want you to listen and just ask yourself, how much can I endure? Bridget Biddy Mason was born in Mississippi in 1818. She was given the name Bridget without a surname and was later nicknamed Biddy. She was owned by slave holders in Georgia, South Carolina, before being returned to Mississippi. Mm, wow. Robert Marion Smith, her last owner, was a Mississippi Mormon convert. Now, stay with me. Now, he's a Mormon and he converted, okay? Mason was forced to travel west with Robert and Rebecca Smith, slaveholders who had joined the Mormon migration to Utah. The Smiths eventually took Mason and her three children to San Bernardino, California. While California was supposedly a free state, Smith continued to hold them captive. Hmm. Take a moment. Oh, help me. Okay. Haven't got to the part that's going to make you wonder, how did she do it? It says, at age 30 years old, Biddy walked 1,700 miles behind a 300 wagon caravan. I'm going to say it again. It said at age 30, Biddy walked 1,700 miles behind a 300 wagon caravan. They wouldn't even let her ride. She had to walk. And I checked this out. I read it. I checked other sources. And I thought, there's no way. There's no way I'm giving up. There's no way I'm giving in. And here it goes. There goes this makeup. Oh, goodness. I just kept reading that over and over. At 30 years old, sorry guys, she walked 1,700 miles behind a 300 wagon caravan. The caravan eventually arrived in Holiday Cottonwood area of St. Lake Valley. Mm. Along the route, Mason was responsible for setting up and breaking camp, cooking the meals, herding cattle, please forgive me, and serving as a midwife. She also took over, please forgive me, I'm sorry, she also took care of her three daughters, aged 10, 4, and a newborn. Now listen, in spite of taking care of her own kids, Mason tended to Rebecca and the Smith children and became an expert nurse and midwife. She was also made to work in the fields and take care of livestock. During her time, oh, you gotta help me. You gotta help me. During her time in the Smith household, she gave birth to three daughters, Ellen, Anne, and Harriet. Even after the law lapsed in 1855, Mason's owner, Robert Smith, get this, who is the father of Mason's two youngest daughters, continued to claim her as property. He decided to leave California for Texas, where slavery was still legal. Eventually, Biddy won her freedom in a landmark court case and became a celebrated philanthropist. Mason and her children befriended free blacks who alerted the local sheriff when the Smiths made plans to take Biddy and her daughters to Texas with them. Mm, it's amazing. Mm, mm, mm. Just have to take a break, guys. Please forgive me. Mm, it's amazing what we endure. Mm. The sheriff took Mason and her family into protective custody under a writ of habeas corpus. Judge Benjamin Hayes circumvented the racist testimony laws that prevented blacks from testifying against whites by interviewing Mason in his chambers. She couldn't testify openly. The judge had to take her in his chambers. There, she said that she did not want to go back to the South with the Smiths. As a result, in 1856, Hayes ruled that Mason and her children were free forever. Mason became a doctor's assistant and ran a midwifing business. Listen, she accumulated a fortune worth $7.5 million in today's dollars, making her one of the richest women in Los Angeles. She established a homestead in what became downtown Los Angeles. And if you want to look this up, I went to all kind of resources. They have pictures of her. They have all the things she did after traveling 1,700 miles behind a caravan. They wouldn't let her ride. She had to go behind a caravan. Says Mason used her wealth to establish a daycare center for working parents and created an account at a store where families who lost their homes in floodings could get supplies. She also co-founded the financial. She also co-founded and financed the first African Methodist Episcopal Church, which is still going strong. Known as Grandma Mason, she died in 1891 and is honored through the Biddy Mason Monument downtown in Los Angeles. Amazing, amazing. I did find out in researching that she has two great granddaughters. Their last names are Cox. You can look it up. And they oversee this foundation for their great grandmother. Beautiful women. And they decided, after getting information about their great grandmother, they wouldn't let her die. What am I saying? Don't want to keep you long. I'm saying you have built in you the fortitude and the determination. Be you a man listening to me tonight or a female, we have something built in us that says, get up and keep it moving. And just as Biddy did, when I read it, I thought, no excuse, Celeste. That you raised Granny's hands, and it's another closet you got to come out of. And for me, it's saying I'm more determined as ever, even though y'all all know I'm 71 years old. I decided after reading her story, and there are other stories, forgive me, that we can bring to you, but to walk behind a caravan for 1,700 miles, I asked God, how did she do it? And she had kids, and the kids belonged to the slave master. And yet, buried inside of her, like buried in all of us, was a determination that I want better and I'm going to do better. This is Granny's old hand saying tonight, Monday night. So much is going on in our world. But when you get a chance to, says knowledge is power. When you get a chance to hear, this is a real story. Look it up. Look it up. I didn't fabricate this. The team did research. I thank God for my team. Tonight, I had some help. Believe it or not, my husband had to help me because part of the team couldn't get here in time. He had to help me with the head wrap. My sister Sharon came along and fixed it up because we wanted to look special. I wanted to honor these women in African garb. I wanted to show how special they are, and reading about both of them, I have no excuse. There you go. Mess up this white, you're gonna be mad at yourself. But as Granny says every single week, come out of the closet. We have nothing to be ashamed of. Whatever has happened to you, it can make you stronger. Or if you choose, it'll destroy you. And we don't want that. We don't want that. When we start back reading the book, I share with you my experiences of being sexually violated by two different men. And I could have chose to say, I don't have a reason to live. I don't have a reason to go on, but I've made up my mind. I came from good stuff. I had a mom and a dad, and I had 8 siblings. And the short time that we were together, my parents built that foundation that I believe, along with Jesus Christ, Becky, I'm here today. Mm. Let's remember Rebecca, and let's remember Biddy, and especially Biddy, because to walk behind a caravan of 300 horses, walk, cattle, walk, still do the cooking, still do the cleaning, still tending to their babies and trying to tend to her own babies. Oh my, how do we do it? How do we pick up and keep going? You come out of that closet. You say, I'm not ashamed of my past. I'm going to use it as a building block for the future. This is Black History Month, and this is Granny. She raising her hands. You see this? And she's saying, as we honor these two women, there are many more people we can honor. We're going to have 2 more weeks of this, and then we'll go back to Granny's Old Hands, chapter 7 and 8. And however we're led, we'll keep sharing. We'll read other person's work if that's what the good Lord says. We'll continue to raise our hands. We'll continue to say, we can do this, and we'll tell each other, girl, get yourself up. Get up. You don't have to stay down there. You fight. You fight through the pain. You fight through the sadness. And you tell yourself you're worth it. You're worth it to get up and walk behind whatever caravan you have to walk behind to get to your goal. If it's school, if it's your family, if it's even you, get up and start walking. Give God something to work with. We say this, and Becky, sorry. So then faith come by hearing, and the hearing of God's word. God's word says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. This bitty woman started the first African American Episcopal church in Los Angeles. There's a monument there. Look it up. Still representing what she did back in the 1800s. This is 2022. And this is Granny saying, thank you so much for letting me vent. And thank you, that team. I didn't mess it up too bad. I still got this. It's hard to find. If some of y'all out there can find these, send them to me. This is a woman's best friend. Thank you. Like us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You know, we have a Granny's Old Hand Facebook page, which one of my grandchildren keeps it running for me. Oh my God, guys, you'd be surprised. Take Jana Guy, Iera Rajane, Chelsea Denise Guy, Sharon Scott, Bernetta, Joyce Williams, Christina, Malcolm and Miles, Becky. I couldn't do it without the help of my family. My husband, like I said, he had to come in the studio and help me with this tonight because I couldn't get it. I just couldn't. My arms, I can raise them only so far, but to keep them up. So I said, you know what? I had called some people and they couldn't get down. But good old faithful Thunder, and she know who she is, showed up and finished what my husband started. Thank you so much. Granny's Old Hands. Enjoy the rest of the month. But take it past the rest of the month. Every day, let it be a Black history for you. Last time. Granny's Old Hands, saying we'll see you next week. Remember to like and subscribe, and remember to share it with somebody else that may not know about Biddy Mason, may not know about Rebecca, because I didn't. I didn't. So do that for us. Like and share. You can join our Facebook, Granny's Old Hands page, and you can ask me anything. I'll tell you the truth as best of my ability. Last time. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Ooh, enjoy the Super Bowl. This is Granny saying on February the 14th, 2022. We each have a story that needs to be told. Thank you. See you next week. This is Granny.